Hi everyone, it's Jeanette here from the Sewing Studio with another of my favourite 9-patch blocks. Now, one of the reasons I love 9-patch blocks so much is just there's so many and they're so versatile and they're really easy to interchange between each other. And the one we're going to look at today is this one, and it's called Old Maids Puzzle. There are lots of names for it. I think there's about 6 or 7 different names for it. Jackson 6 is also another name for it. As I said, lots of different names. But for years, literally years, I've been wanting to make a quilt with this block and I've never quite managed to find the time to do it. But I thought I'd share the block with you first, and then maybe I'll get inspired and be able to clear some of my other quilts out the way and make a start on this one. Now, the other reason I really like these 9-patch blocks is because I can use my scraps on them, so they're really good ones for scrap busting. So should we have a look at this one? What we've got here are 6 half square triangles, and as I said, I'm using my scraps. I think these were some coriander quilts fabrics. Can't remember the range, it's quite a few years old. And I've got some bits of a layer cake still hanging around, so I was thinking this might be some nice colours to start with. And then I've just got a grunge in the background here. So it's 6 of the half square triangles, and then we just need 3 2.5-inch background squares for that. Now, because I'm using my scraps, I'm making my half square triangles from strips, because that's what my scraps are allowing me to do a little bit more, rather than having sort of 3-inch squares. I don't always have 3-inch squares to do my 2-inch finished half square triangles. So let's just have a look how this goes together. Now, I always start by making the units that need to be pieced anytime I'm doing a block. So for this, we need to make the 6 half square triangles. I've started to cut the pieces out here. I've just got to cut 2 more half square triangles, and I'm using this little ruler from Creative Grids, which is the 45 and 90 degree triangle ruler. So it's got a half square triangle ruler at the top, and then this is a 1/4 square triangle at the bottom, but this is the bit I'm going to be using. Now, this one gives you finished size measurements on it. So these are going to finish at 2 inches. So that's the line I need to be lining up with the bottom of my strip. And I'm just going to cut my final 2 half square triangles. Now, I tend to not leave a bias edge. So even though I don't need these, I'm actually just going to cut another 2, because then that leaves my strip with a straight edge. And then what I tend to do with those is just have a little container with little oddments of half square triangles in. I just think it sort of avoids that fabric stretching, because it's got that bias there. So that's just what I tend to do. So let's grab my bits. So I've got 6 of the coloured pieces of fabric, 6 of my background. So let's take them to the machine and sew them. Now I'm going to start on my starter scrap, and that's just because we're starting with a very narrow piece of fabric, and it just stops the machine from pushing that fabric down into the throat plate. I think we had a comment the other day about why doesn't she start and stop on one. That's more about saving thread. This is more about sort of fabric management, if you like. So I'm just going to chain piece all of these through. Now let's take those to the iron and give them a press. And there's our units made. Now I'm just going to cut off the dog ears. Now you could of course do that before you press them open, it doesn't really matter. There we are, and that's all our units made. So it's a really nice quick block. And then the layout is your 3 background squares. This grunge is really hard to see which is the which is the top and which is the bottom. It's very close. Yeah, that way. And then 3, all your triangles sort of point towards the centre. So 3 sort of come in from that direction. And then 3 come up to me meet them. Now I'm just going to swap that one with that one, just because I feel like there's a lot of dark there and all the lighter tones are at the top. So I'm just going to do that. That looks a bit more balanced, and I'm just going to double check that against this block. Yep, I've got it all right, so now I can take that. Now I always do it in rows, and I do right onto left. Now I'm going to press this top row, all the seams going to the left. This middle row, I'm going to press all the seams so they go to the right. And then the bottom row, we're going to go to the left again, so we're alternating directions. So there we are, there's our block, just checking I've got everything in the right orientation. I have. So let's take it to the iron. So there it is, there's the block all finished. Old Maid's Puzzle. Let me just put that in the same direction that that one's going so that you can see. But this is another one that actually you can lay them all out going in the same direction. You can begin to lay them out so they start to make different patterns. As I said, I've been wanting to make a quilt with this block for literally years. I don't know, 10 years maybe even longer. I've loved it for a long, long, long time, and I really must. And now I've got 2 blocks made. Maybe that's the start I need to make the quilt. So maybe this is a scrap quilt on my very near horizon, hopefully. So I hope you enjoyed that one, Old Maid's Puzzle or Jackson 6, or there's loads of other names. There's loads of other names for it. But one of my very favourite blocks for a 9 patch. And as I said, can be swapped out for any other 9 patch or used alongside any other 9 patch that uses squares. And of course, because it's an even 9 patch, you can up the size of those. So if you wanted 3-inch finished, 4-inch finished, 5-inch finished, whatever you like. So I hope you enjoyed that quick little look at the Old Maid's Puzzle block. And I hope you'll join us again here next time in the sewing studio.